Hey boys and girls, today we are starting topic 11, which is all about volume. You will need your workbook, a pencil, multiplication chart will be extremely helpful during this unit. Some scratch paper, make sure you have a pencil ready to go. Alrighty, let's get started with our solve and share. So today's lesson is modeling volume. Here is our learning goal. I can measure space inside of a solid figure. So we're going to be looking at figures that are broken up into little units, and we need to decide how many units they are made up of. Here's our solve and share. We're on page 451, so make sure you have your workbook out and open and are ready to follow along. Gina is building a rectangular prism out of sugar cubes for her art class project. She started by drawing a diagram of the rectangular prism that is 4 cubes high, 4 cubes long, and 2 cubes wide. How many cubes does she use to make the prism? So here's what it looks like from the front. Here's our side view, and here's our top view. So I want you to go ahead and try and solve this problem any way you choose. We talked a little bit about the formula, but if you can kind of construct it and show it, then give that a try. Alrighty, let's go ahead and try to build this together. So this is my front view right here. I've got 4 cubes down, 4 cubes across. Okay, and so then my side view is I have 2 rows back. So if I'm going to try to make this 3D, I'm going to do a little slanty lines, and mine will not be perfect. If you did not draw a model, then why don't you go ahead and follow along with what I'm doing and try to. I know it won't be perfect. Okay, I think it's straight line. Okay, and so then that would need to go down. These need to be angled. And there's one row. You can kind of start to see where it's not so perfect, but that's okay. Okay, and do a straight line down. Alrighty, so we've got our 2 side view. You can see 1 row, 2 row, so that checks out. And then our top row is going to have 2 rows as well, which is what I've got there. So then if I think about it, I've got 16 cubes on the front part, and then there's 16 cubes back behind it. We can only see these 7 of them because this is the same cube right here because that's the top and that's the side. But there's cubes all behind the little chunk right here. So we have 16 in the front. We've got 16 back behind it. So we're going to have a total of 32 cubes. And so we can label that as 32 unit cubes, 32 I guess that's what I would say, cubes, yeah. Alrighty, so then we've also talked a little bit about formula, which I've mentioned just briefly. And so when we find area equals length times width, and that's when we square it, right? So for this time, we're doing the volume, and this is when it's 3D. So volume equals length times width. Look, that's familiar. So we're taking the whole area of the bottom of it, but we're also multiplying it by the height, and that is when we are going to be cubing it because we have 3 dimensions that we are multiplying here. Here we only have 2 dimensions, and that's why we cube it or square it, and then here we have 3, so that's why we cube it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our essential question over on page 458. Alrighty, so volume is the number of cubic units needed to pack a solid figure without gaps or overlaps. A cubic unit is the volume of a cube measuring 1 unit on each edge. What is the volume of this rectangular prism? So if we look here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes across, 1, 2, 3 cubes back, and yes, we do count every single space that we have. Even though this is that same cube, we count how many unit cubes back. And then we have how many cubes high. Yes, we will count this one as 1, 2 right there. So this one kind of gets counted double, which I know is sort of a little bit confusing, but you have to, if I only counted one of them, then I wouldn't be counting both rows there. So if I think about how many I have on the bottom, well, yeah, let me click over. So on here, they are gonna break it down to see how many cubes they have on the bottom. So if they have 5 in this first row, they'll have 5 here and 5 here. Well, there's 15 on the bottom layer. Well, we have 2 layers. So if I have 15 on the bottom layer and 15 on the top layer, then you're gonna have a total of 30 cubic units. Like that. Now, if we think about our formula, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 layers. So we could do 5 times 3 times 2. 5 times 3 gives me 15 times 2. Bada bing, same answer, 30. Okay, let's take a look at some guided practice problems. Alrighty. We are going to start in by drawing a model. It says make a model of a rectangular prism with a bottom layer that is 3 cubes long by 3 cubes wide. So our bottom layer needs to have 3 cubes across the bottom. Let's go ahead and draw it together like that. And then I would also need to have 3 cubes back. So I'm going to do little diagonals. It's not going to be perfect. 1, 2, 3. And then it says make the top layer that is the same as the bottom layer. And then we have to draw our picture. So our top layer is going to be the same. And then we would have to fill it in. And if we have 3 by 3, well, that just means I'm going to have, make sure I'm trying to, so I've got my 3 rows there. So now I just got to continue on these lines. 1, 2, 3. It is far from perfect. But there is my model. We've got 3 cubes across the bottom, 3 cubes back, and then they're layered on top of each other. So looking at that, what do you think the volume would be? We have 3 across, 3 back, 2 high. Go ahead and give that a try. Well, if we do our 3 times 3, we get 9 times 2 would be 18. Or if you find the area of the bottom layer, 9, then you could just double that. 9 and 9 is 18. Okay, let's go ahead and look at number 3. It says in 3 and 4, use unit cubes to make a model of each rectangular prism and find the volume. So go ahead and try to find the volume. How many cubes is that made up of? All right, let's go over it. So we've got 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top. So we're gonna have 8 total there. And we wanna make sure we put our label for cubic units. Later on in the unit, we'll get into using inches and yards and feet for our labels. But for now, for today, we're just doing cubic units. All right, go ahead and give number 4 a try. Alrighty. Well, there's only 1 layer, so this is a little bit easier. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 along the front, 2 back, just 1 high. So 5, 6 times 2 times 1, you're going to have 12 cubic units. Alrighty, we will practice some more of these in group.